SARS has collected an astonishing but provisional 1.5 trillion rand this year's tax season. This marks a 25% year-on-year growth and a 15% growth on pre-COVID revenue collection SARS. So it's all on the way up, no matter how you look at it. Commissioner Edward Kisweta making the announcement in Pretoria, Botswana, earlier today. eNCA's Barry Bateman has more for us on this story, joining us now this hour. Barry, very good afternoon. Thank you very much for your time on today. Now, the SARS Commissioner, Mr. Kisweta, clearly thrilled by the revenue service this tax season. Tell us about what he had to say.
Yeah, good afternoon, Dan. Well, thrilled, I think, is a bit of an understatement. He gave us a whole breakdown of what the expectations were, looking at the budget review that was given by the finance minister earlier this year, and how this was reviewed by several, more than 100 billion over what was initially expected. That final target set somewhere of 1.5 trillion, and that ultimately being exceeded. We had the briefing today. Usually we would go into the media briefing room, which is in a building not far from here. We went into the building behind me, which is where I suppose it's the nerve center, if you want to call it, of revenue collection is. And we were in this room that the whole one side and to the back is covered with, from the floor to the ceiling, in these television screens. And we were given a practical demonstration of how the revenue service can monitor right down to a taxpayer level whether or not they have paid, what's outstanding, where the money's going, what stage of the process they are. And this is what we are told is how the revenue collection process has developed in the last 25 years. That 25 years is an important milestone for the revenue service. It's been in existence for that long. It's its silver jubilee. Apparently that's what 25 years means. It certainly was a jubilee day for Edward Kisweta. Take a listen to him when he made that big announcement.
So I'm very pleased to announce a tax revenue result of 1.563 trillion rand. This represents an increase in 25% year-on-year growth, or added an additional 314 billion rand compared to what we collected last year. Interestingly, this is also a 15.3% growth from the pre-COVID year of 2019 to 2020. So whilst the economy is still in a recovery phase, we are beginning to see a normalization of revenue growth to make up the dip that we've experienced during the worst period of COVID.
These numbers are really, really magnificent. Maybe that's another word we can use. No wonder Kisweta was over the moon. But I mean, how were these numbers reached? What did he say about that?
Well, he gave us a breakdown of the various sectors that contributed different percentages, but over and above, across the board, it does appear to be improvements over the last year. You just heard that 25% year on year, 15% over the pre-COVID levels. But just to, I'm going to leave it to Edward Kisweta to give us those actual breakdowns per sector. Take a listen to him, Dan.
EIT was net up by 67.3 billion, or 13.8%, to 555.8 billion rand. Corporate income taxes, net up by 119.2 billion, or 58.3%, to 323.6 billion rand. VAT, up by 59.5 billion rand, or 18%, to 390.7 billion rand. Import duties up by 10.7 billion rand, or 22.6%, to 58 billion rand. And domestic specific excise duties up by 17.3 billion rand, or 53.5%, to 49.6 billion rand.
As you said, Barry, I wonder what has contributed really to this jubilee year-on-year growth. Very impressive numbers there explained by Mr. Kisweta. What is this growth due to?
Well, there were a number of factors, Dan. One of them, you heard Kisweta touching on there, is the opening up of the economy. The COVID-19 had a devastating effect, and the government's imposition of significant lockdown, starting with that hard lockdown 2 years ago, seriously harmed the economy. Well, we've had over the last year or so an easing of those restrictions, and this has allowed the economy to once again flourish in some sectors. The other aspect is the use of technology. As I said, we were in this room earlier today and we were given a live demonstration of the kind of data that SARS is able to collect at every single process of the tax collection process, and the fine details you can get down to an individual taxpayer. The technology, though, the access to that data, we were told, has been around for quite some time, but the ability to properly use it. It's no use if you don't know how to use it. Well, they seem to be getting a grip on it here. So the better use of technology and data has allowed them to better be able to collect the revenue that is due to the state. And Kisweta also telling us about overall general improved compliance from members of the public, and the use of technology in another way, Dan, and that is enabling the taxpayer. You don't have to go into an office or a tax facility anymore to be able to file your taxes. We know this because we've had e-filing. But with the advent of COVID-19, to keep people absolutely out of all the offices, they improved the use of cell phone technology, for example, the app that you can use to file your tax returns through that. So those are some of the aspects that have contributed all round to the higher number or the amount of revenue collected despite difficult times.
Thank you very much, Barry Bateman, for that update there from the taxman this afternoon.